Right. Are we all hooked up? Are we all ready to go? We're going to try something quite ambitious here. We're going to cross live to New York to check in with, well, our favourite chick on the program. It's Judith Lucy! Oh, my God.
Good evening.
Look at that. Dear, oh dear. Great to catch up.
I think you can tell I'm a fairly sophisticated traveller, and the tip is not to look too much like a tourist.
Judith, can you hear us?
I can, Jess. Tony, how are you going?
Could you leave a 1-second pause after each of our questions?
That's all right. I'll just run out the back and tell her. Jude, I need to know, how did you go? You're over there now. How was the flight over?
Look, I've got to tell you, the trip didn't get off to the most tippity-top start.
Okay.
Basically, look, I'm travelling with my manager, Kevin, because I'm, you know, a little like Madonna. And and can I just say that I must have looked sensational by the time I got to LA airport, because someone actually asked if Kevin, who's 26, was my son, which would have meant that I'd given birth to him when I was 5, and, you know, sure, I was married, but we didn't want to rush into having a family. Boom, bang. So Kev and I have gotten on the plane in Australia, and, you know, we've done that thing that you do when you're on a 24 international flight and you want to get some sleep. You think, well, why just settle for sleeping tablets when we all know international flight equals the 2 words free and alcohol? So, basically, we've had a pretty healthy cocktail, but unfortunately, before we managed to knock ourselves out, we went through a phase where we were pretty unbearable. And at one point, one of the flight attendants has had to tell us to stop shouting because we decided to have a conversation while we were still both wearing our Walkmans. And not long after that, and this is the most mystifying part of the trip, Mick, neither of us know how, we don't know why, we have wound up in the cockpit. Now, I'm not sure, as you do, I'm not sure if we were trying to hijack the plane after the flight attendant had told us to be quiet, but we're in there, Kev's got the little camera, he's trying to tape it all for the show. I'm not kidding, as soon as I have gotten in there, I just could not stop cracking flying high jokes. I'm like nudging the captain and going, hey, they don't call it a cockpit for nothing. Over, under, Roger, Roger, under, over. Jimmy, have you got yourself a dog? I swear to you, I couldn't just stop short of trying to recreate, well, the shit's really going to hit the fan joke. And then I have been trying to get the captain to say something that referred to the Mick Molloy Show. Not surprisingly, by this stage, he's, you know, a little bit anxious. So he's kind of reacted like I've actually asked him to say, you know, hey, pass the crack pipe, the only way to fly. So this is all pretty strange. Then we have landed at LA airport. We're going through customs, and there has been an announcement saying, could Judith Lucy please report to customs immediately? I'm thinking, oh no, they found the beef I was trying to smuggle in. You know, either that or one of those pilots wants to date me. And they've pulled me over, and no, they want to confiscate the tape that we've taken in the cockpit, you know. I'm thinking probably because I was so damn hilarious they want to send it to a Hollywood agent. They have gone berserk. It all went very Midnight Express. They've just been saying things like, haven't you noticed they never film the cockpit in movies? And I was going to say, well, surely you've seen Flying High. But I thought, best to let that go. And then they've been saying stuff like, you've got no idea how many security regulations you've broken. And I'm thinking, you know what? Is the cockpit a well-kept secret? I mean, you know, sure, other countries have planes, but obviously they don't have that bit down the front with the lights and the buttons. I mean, you know, I've heard in Russia that the pilots just sit down the front of the plane in a small shoe store. So, you know...
You got there in the end. Hey, Jude, I have to ask you, Are you done with the plane, Jude?
No, I'm not.
I thought I might have jumped in a little quickly.
Look, it didn't really improve because then we had to get onto an American plane. And can I just say, you had to pay $5 American for the headset to watch the movie. And I'm thinking, you know, what? Is the seat an optional luxury? You know, do we have to pay to watch the safety demonstration? And then the breakfast has arrived, and I've gone for French toast, which was like this sort of cinnamon syrupy thing, and underneath it had a lump of Spam. And I'm thinking, well, that's a great combination. I mean, Special K was also available, but I thought, well, that probably comes with some shredded steak, so I gave that a miss.
Fantastic. Well, we're glad to see you got there safely, Jude. And what have you been up to yourself since you've been out in the town in New York?
Well, I've been doing some pretty smart shopping, as I think you can tell, but I took myself off to a shop they have here called As Seen on TV, where all they sell is stuff off infomercials. And I had to pick myself up a can save. Can we actually get a bit of a close-up of that? As you can see,
it's the future
ingenious.
of banking.
Sorry?
It's the future of banking, Jude.
Absolutely. Well, isn't it just the smartest thing you've ever seen? Because, of course, it's a safe, but it's disguised as a can. And what I love about it is the fact that, and I went for the soup one, they had everything from Ajax to Hairspray, but on the back it actually says, an absolute must to put one in your suitcase when you travel. Because, you know, if I was a thief and I found a can of soup in someone's luggage, I wouldn't think that was suspicious at all. I mean, you know, when I'm travelling, I always say to myself, must remember my sensible shoes, my toiletries, and oh, can't forget my cream of potato. But hey, I didn't stop there. Couldn't resist this. Throw away your toothpaste forever and say hello to fresh breath with the copper tongue scraper. As you can see, it's just a strip of copper that they've bent in the middle, and how we are meant to believe that, you know, you can get fresh breath by just shoving half a coat hanger in your mouth and scraping the top layer of your tongue off.
And I think that copper tongue implement also doubles as it can actually divine water, Jude. Have you heard that yourself?
I think so, and you can hang half a shirt on it. And I love this too. It actually says on the packet, fresher, cleaner breath for women, men, and every member of the family. And I would have thought that women and men pretty much would have covered it, but, you know, I guess you might have an uncle who's a bear. And listen, the last thing was, I just stopped short of buying some cellulite cream that claimed that it could remove cellulite from your thighs, bottom, and chin. Now, I'm still a bit vague about what cellulite is and whether it actually exists, but I've never actually heard of anyone having it on their chin. I think that would be a bit like saying, well, she's got a great figure, but she could really take some weight off her forehead. So there you go.
We should ask Mick, has the rapturous acclaim with which the first episode of this program has been showered with, has it reached New York?
Oh, look, people have just been stopping me in the street.
People have been trying to confiscate that tape as well, Jude. I think you'll find. Jude, you're a great sport. Thanks for dropping by. What is your reason for being in New York anyway, may I ask, before we go?
I'm just off. I'm off to Montreal for the Montreal Comedy Festival later today.
Okay, well, don't change.
Judith.
Just go straight there.
Judith.
Absolutely.
Judith. Bob Franklin here, Channel 9. I've heard that they have taxis over there and they're yellow.
Well,
yes?
You're on to something. It's a bit of a scoop. Keep it under your hat.
Sounds like a crazy place.
It's mad.
We were never supposed to get that heavy. Thank you, Judith. We really appreciate you dropping by.
See you guys.